This video will give a brief overview of the PARC ACH toolkit. This toolkit was developed by the Palo Alto Research Center. ACH stands for Analysis of Competing Hypotheses. After opening the ACH toolkit, I would recommend entering a project title. This tends to keep one focused on the project. In this case, I'm going to enter the title, Why Has Cybercrime Increased? After entering your project title, it's time to enter the hypotheses. A hypothesis is a testable proposition about what is true, or about what has, is, or will happen. It should usually be worded as a positive statement that can be disproved. A good set of hypotheses meets two tests. Number one, hypotheses cover all reasonable possibilities, including those that seem unlikely but not impossible. And number two, the hypotheses should be mutually exclusive. That is, if one hypothesis is true, then all other hypotheses must be false. I entered two hypotheses for why cybercrime has increased. The first hypothesis is more internet users provide a greater pool for cybercriminals. The second hypothesis states cybercriminals are state-sponsored for the purpose of stealing intellectual property and defense secrets. Be sure to hit enter at the end of each hypothesis so that the ACH toolkit saves your hypothesis. Now let's look at some of the additional features in the ACH toolkit. If you click the button at the top right, you'll get the ACH tutorial. This can be printed in its entirety or can be viewed in your browser. When you click on the Columns tab, a drop-down menu appears and you have different options to choose. Date and time may be important if you're doing a criminal or intelligence investigation. By default, these are not checked. You can also check the credibility and relevance column as well as a type column. Now it's time to enter the evidence. To enter the first evidence item, click the radio button that says Enter Evidence. Go ahead and type in your evidence and be sure to hit Enter at the end of the sentence. Under the column labeled Type, you could enter any word you want. However, in a criminal or counterintelligence environment, it may be appropriate to have categories such as motive, opportunity, means, or character assessment. Under the headings Credibility and Relevance, there are three options: low, medium, and high. When evaluating your evidence items, it's important to work across the matrix rather than down the matrix. Now that I've entered 14 evidence items, it's time to evaluate each item. In looking at the inconsistency score, the hypothesis with the highest inconsistency score is the least likely. The one with the lowest inconsistency score is the most likely. In other words, the hypothesis closest to 0 will be the least likely. In my example, both scored a -3. Though the matrix guides our thinking and offers analysis, the human element is still necessary. It would be reasonable to believe that there is not one cause for an increase of cybercrime, but many. In this case, both of my hypotheses, more internet users provide a greater pool for cybercriminals, as well as cybercriminals are state sponsored for the purpose of stealing intellectual property and defense secrets, scored the same.